Welcome to the Draw Shop's Get Genius podcast, where we talk to today's business influencers to pick their brain and pull out their genius. It's time to get genius.
Hello, listeners. Okay. Sometimes this happens where I do an interview with somebody and I'm like instantly love at first sight and make a good friend all of a sudden. And I love it. So my guest today is Heather Havenwood, and we just did an awesome interview. We talked for a little bit before the interview, and then I was like, okay, we got to get recording because you're so awesome. And then we ended the show, and then we talked for another 30 minutes because she's just kind of rad all over. She's awesome in all kinds of ways. She's kind of like the person that I would want to have as my mentor or somebody who teaches me. So if you're listening and you're looking for that person who can help like in the sales, marketing, and those type strategies within your business, and you want that person that's just like super fun, I think she's actually taking on clients. When you hear the interview, you'll see why I'm excited about her and why you, if you are looking for that, would be really excited to work with her. I don't know how many people she's taking on. I'm not sure if we actually addressed that number, but I do believe she is taking on clients. You're probably just like, okay, who is she? Why are you getting all excited? You might already know who she is. I mean, she works with a lot of incredible people. She's super funny. She's got this she should have her own radio show, but she does have a bunch of podcasts, but she's like somebody you want to listen to every morning. So let me tell you a little bit about her. Her name is Heather Havenwood, and she's all about working with people that are experts in whatever their industry or field is. She works with coaches. She works with a lot of different businesses, but she works with the entrepreneurs specifically on producing results. And that is in the marketing area, in sales, the really important parts of your business, like branding and messaging, and how are you getting across to your market. She calls herself a chief sexy boss, and she totally is. If you see pictures of her when you go to her website, which is heatherhavenwood.com, and we'll show you other places that you can go to at the end of the interview. She's definitely hot woman, sexy, smart, super wicked, awesome in all kinds of ways. I mean, she knows internet marketing. She knows best business strategies, sales strategies. We talk a lot about sales. And I think it's important. And it's probably, if you've noticed, when there's certain things that I'm looking to do within my own business, I am always trying to suck that information out of my genius interviewees because I'm trying to learn myself. And, we're going through the process of when you're going through growth, you need to hire on more people. And so for us, we're hiring more salespeople, people in just different areas. And so it's okay, what's the best advice that I could get? I think I know, but I'm always looking to get more information. And so I totally picked her brain on sales and strategies and, what has she done that works? What doesn't work? Who has she learned from? What's her experience been? How do you find those right people? And there's other questions too, hey, when you're trying to grow your business, what are some of those best marketing tips? And she has some surprising answers that you may or may not like. I liked them. Definitely surprises you a little bit, but it's awesome. So all that to say, she's had tremendous experience building businesses, in less than a year, just from zero to over $1 million. She knows what to do, and she's super funny, and I just want to hang out with her. And I think you will too when you hear the interview. So take a listen. I don't think that I told you where to go to hear her podcast. We may have talked about it, but go to heatherhavenwood.com and listen to The Win. She's also got a whole bunch of other shows going on as well. So take a listen, enjoy. I wish I could have gone on way longer, but you can get more of her if you go to her site. Hello, Heather. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Summer.
So we were just chatting beforehand, and then I'm like, okay, we need to start recording because we're already starting to get into some good stuff. So you're going to be such an asset for our listeners. I'm so excited. I know we're not going to have enough time to talk about all the things I want to pull from you. So I'm going to make sure that towards the end of this that our listeners know where to follow and get more information from you, because I'm already I want to know more. So let's dive in. You help experts. You yourself are an expert in so many different areas. I mean, you're just the go-to for marketing and sales strategies. I want to go down that path because I know that that's a pain point for our listeners and really for any business at any time. Even if you're killing it and rocking it, there's more things that you can do and there's more that you can learn in terms of closing more, converting more. So first, like, how did this become something that you became an expert in and are so driven to help people to do?
That part's interesting. The starting, I think we all have, our own little stories and war stories and broken bones, as I call it. Actually, how I got the start as a woman in direct response marketing, as you know, is kind of odd, right?
Right.
So I got my start because I started in sales at the young age of like 23 in a corporate setting. I didn't know what I was doing. I was thrown to, the desk and they said, here's your quota. Here's your business cards. See you. Bye. Like that was, that was it.
Yeah.
And, and here's some yellow pages. That was my, here's the yellow pages.
Call. Yeah.
And so I did. I solicited. I walked into doors. I walked in like no soliciting. I'd walk in. Hello. I learned kind of the grind. I didn't know what I was doing. I really had no psychology behind it. I then was at that company. It was a big company, SBC. I reached the pinnacle. I actually became number one in the country out of 10,000 reps. And I was told at a young age, that's what you do, right? You work for a big company and you make the money and they pat you on the head and they give you a little bit and you're like happy go lucky forever, right?
Yep.
Then I got my little, stupid plastic thing. $5 congratulations, you're number one in the country. I was waiting for my Cadillac. It never came. Where's the Rolex, people?
Right.
So I was really wanting the pink Cadillac, to be honest. But I didn't get it. In fact, I got my walking papers. It kind of threw me in a lot of different loops. I was just kind of thrown like, wait. The structure of how I was taught got broken,
Yeah.
So I just kind of hung back for a couple of months and just had this, well, what do I do now thing happen? And the universe always works in its mysterious ways. And so my future got created on a Sunday by seeing an infomercial.
That's a great title for a book, by the way. My future got created on a Sunday.
That's actually really good. I should write that down. Yeah, it was a Sunday, and I'm sitting there with my girlfriend who just got married and type of that, and her husband went to go get a beer and stopped the channel surfing, and it sat on an infomercial. Do you want to control your life? Do you want to make more money? And I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you have me. And hello. Right. So I'm like, right. Come to our seminar tomorrow at 1:00. I'm like, yeah. Right. Dallas, this whole thing goes.
Right.
So I go to my little 1:00 seminar. I walk in and they're pitching on some like how to buy and sell houses thing, $3,000. And I'd sit at my 2-hour presentation, the guy in the front, the pitch man, you can see it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Sitting in my seat. I'm like 25. I'm young and I'm a girl. So there's that.
Right.
I don't have $3,000. Right. So they said for your spouse, it's $1,000. I'm like, sweet. Right. So I like bust the guy next to me, stranger, Bob, Joe, Jerry, but I don't know his name. I'm like, hey, can I be your wife? He's like, sure. Or spouse or whatever I said. So we went to the back of the room and I was lying. Right. And I'm telling you all this because I think entrepreneurs, Summer, we figure it out.
Totally. Yep.
I knew I was lying. They knew I was lying. They still took my money, like they still took my money. Right. But that's what entrepreneurs do. We figure it out. We don't always play by the rules. We're always like kind of figuring out, well, how can we like not break the rules, just like move out of the rules a little, we're always trying to figure it out. So I didn't know that either. So I sign up for my little seminar with my little husband, who I don't even know his name. And I come back in a week, 3-day event type of thing. And the whole time, the people who are running the event, they're like watching me. Like, what's your deal? 1, you're a female. 2, you're lying, but we knew that. We took your money anyway. And like, you're interesting to us. You're one of us. So I ended up, the guys kind of approached me and they said, hey, what are you doing? What's your life look like? I'm like, I was number one in sales and they booted me out. And they go, perfect. You're one of us. You're a rascal. You're a renegade. Cool. Come work with us. I moved to Orlando, Florida, and I started traveling the country for what I didn't know is the largest seminar company in the country at the time. This is right after Charles Gibbons. This is kind of dating me.
Okay. Yeah.
This is Larry Pino. I don't know if you know that world, but he ran like Robert Allen Institute.
I know all of it. Yep.
So Forex Made Easy, all these brands. And he was the largest seminar company in the country. So I actually ended up working for them. That's how I moved into seminars and events and direct response and Dan Kennedy and John Carlton and like all the stuff that you and I No.
Yep.
I mean, I met Joe Polish back in like 04, 05 or something. I don't know. Something insane. Right. So I think that's how I got thrown into it. I think entrepreneurship, Summer, I personally have a belief that the entrepreneurship journey finds the entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You know, we stumble on it more because we're usually kicked out of the other school. And so we're all thrown together, all looking at each other like, what are you doing here? I don't know. I just got thrown out. I mean, I don't know what you do. That's cool. Let's like hang out. Okay, cool. That's kind of how I view entrepreneurs. We all kind of know each other and we're all weird, right? So why we all like make masterminds and networks together, because we all know, wow, we just are weird.
I'm just laughing because you just created so many funny visuals. I love it. Like, gaping void.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
I'm totally seeing like all of this. Like I'm totally seeing the drawing of everybody just being kicked out of, corporate or whatever of the norm here. And all just sitting there going, okay, now what? And then, from that spawns all this crazy good stuff. Mistakes too, but
every person that I said the story that I got fired after I being R1 doesn't understand it. People who are entrepreneurs get it.
Yeah. Exactly.
You're like, oh, that makes sense. You hit the top. They don't know how to deal with that. You're too expensive for them. You created a system that they can deal with. Of course, they're going to kick you out. People in corporate America are like, well, that makes no sense. If you're number one, they should keep you. No, actually,
exactly.
I broke the system. It's like the Facebook people, like they're constantly trying to break it. You know what I mean?
Right,
and then they break it and then Facebook figures out, oh, we got hackers. So they, everyone I know in the online world, they're always trying to hack stuff. Like we're trying to like take it to the next level. And then before they figure it out, that's just what we do.
Yeah. It's interesting, as I feel like entrepreneurs and people like us seek out a different type of salesperson, or they seek out a different type of sales strategy. And like you were saying earlier in corporate, a lot of times, I mean, that's still happening. I hear from people when I'm interviewing for sales positions, I'm hearing people that are like, so my previous job, they just sat me at a desk, and very similar, here's the book, here's the yellow pages, there's, whatever the leads that they have that they're supposed to cold call, here's some cards, and that's it, go. And I'm like, wow, that's dangerous, to just throw somebody like that. But I want to talk to you about like sales, and first, what's the right way to go about doing it? What's the right way to that person? Because that's a pretty expensive mistake if you don't find the right person.
So there's a couple things. One, you have to understand a salesperson. I don't mean you, but like in generalized speaking, when you're hiring a good one, a good salesperson's kind of slick, and they probably won't be your friend.
Yeah.
They're not someone you like. I don't know. Like I'm a salesperson, and I can see at people who are salespeople like, oh, you're a salesperson. There's some kind of like, oh, I got it. And salespeople love to be sold. Salespeople actually want to come to you and go, sell me on why I should work with you. That's what salespeople do. They would do that. Come into the interview and go, okay, sell me on why I should work for you.
Right.
and most owners would be like, excuse me? Like, actually, that's a good salesperson. Grab them.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Because they want to be sold. I'm the one, like, I'm seriously, I'm the person. I went and got my car in the last couple of years, a Lexus. And I know I already had the car, right? To me, like, I'm already a yes. But I walk in, I'm like, okay, Candace, you need to sell me on why I'm taking that car home today. And she's like, but aren't you? I'm like, no. You're going to sell me because I want to feel sold.
Exactly.
It's what we do. It's just kind of a brief. I constantly am selling. I'm constantly in that space. Not and some people have this negative connotation of selling. Selling is every communication, right? Selling is when getting on this interview and constantly communication. It's like it's moving things forward. Sales is the process of moving people, and it could be teams, like working with you. There's a team I'm working with, right? So there's not just you have your team assistants and who not. So I'm like moving things down the line. It's moving the needle, and it's not always one-on-one, especially in big corporations. You're usually dealing with 1, 2, 3, sometimes a team of decision makers. So a good salesperson understands how to move the needle.
Yes.
Right. And sometimes the transaction's short. Like, so in the seminar, I'm sitting there, they have 90 minutes. They either can get $3,000 out of me or not. And then, of course, I finagle it and only give them $1,000.
Right.
Because that's what I do. Right. But a long-term sales cycle, it could be 6 months. It could be 8 months. It could be a year. Those are the high-level salespeople because it takes patience to say, okay, how am I going to move this needle down the line? So in a year or 6 months, we're signing this very large contract. And most what I call immature salespeople, and that it doesn't have nothing to do with age, by the way. Most immature salespeople, that's too long of a wait time. They get fed on the high of the close, versus the high of moving the needle.
Exactly.
Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense. Those people that are really good, they get the high and they're good at it, and that instant close. And then there's those people, like you said, that understand the whole life cycle, what it takes to build this relationship and that whole thing.
It's very different. I know you're going to ask a question, that's fine, but it's very different. I was just having dinner last night with this total stranger guy, just to give you context. And the company he works with is big, huge. And I said, well, what are your salespeople? He goes, well, I only have people that have only been in the business for 15 years. I go, what's your sales cycle? He goes, a year minimum, 9 months, year. I go, that's why, the average 25-year-old coming out of college and you tell them, well, your sale's not going to happen for a year and you've got to deal with 15 people to be able to close a sale. Are you kidding me?
Right.
They're like, what? What do you mean? Then what am I doing all day? What am I doing all day?
Yeah.
So that's why I started to interrupt you, but that gives you a context a little bit.
No, exactly. I totally get it. I wonder, is it smart to have a diverse group of salespeople?
Oh, well, let's call it, and I don't know if you're talking about specifically your company or other companies, but in our world, let's call it the consulting world, internet marketing world, e-commerce world, it's usually a shorter sales cycle, right? It's because you and I are dealing with these $80 billion companies doing big data. So in the smaller sales cycle, right? So it could be 2 days, it could be 3-6 months. That's what I call a short-term sales cycle. So people are spending some kind of money, $25,000, $50,000, $100,000 on a big project that they have to make sure that this project is a rate of return, right? So they're working with the draw shop or something like that. Okay, we're going to spend $25,000, $30,000, $40,000 on a video more. Okay, what's the rate of return? How are we going to use it in our business to make money, right? So in that process, the salesperson kind of, I feel like, has to what I call hold the space.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
If you're dealing with the draw shop, I'm sure you know this, you have the person making the decision, you have the money person, and then you have usually the ad person weighing in. Well, is this going to work on Facebook or is this going to work on LinkedIn? Or Twitter? They're weighing in on their view as well. And so you're having to constantly hold the space for the different kinds of personalities coming at you. You have to understand the psychology of the accounting person, the psychology of the CEO, the psychology of the Facebook ad, where they're making their money and understanding that. And so a good salesperson holds the space. There's also what I call the setter and the closer in most environments. So setter is really what it looks like in volleyball. They set the space, and then you have the spiker who closes it. I'm more of a spiker, right? I know that. I like the kill.
Yeah.
I'm the kill zone. Pew! But I've had to learn to allow different personalities to say yes. You also have to be really attuned as a closer. You be really attuned to know when the talking is done and ask for the sell. And that's what I learned when I traveled the country, Summer, and you'll appreciate the story. When I traveled the country, I was literally living out of a suitcase 50 weeks out of the year. Yeah. Going to city by city by city, new city every week. And within the city, we'd have to move within the city. So we didn't go to LA and stayed in one hotel for 3 nights. It was LA, Orange County. We'd move. We literally go hotel. It's crazy. And we either ate ramen noodles or we ate Ruth Chris, Totally. Only time we knew what we were going to eat that night was by what we just sold. Right? So we're are we going to eat ramen noodles tonight? Tacos? Are we getting Ruth Chris, baby? Our whole life was revolved around the sell. So this was my first time where it was such a, I don't know how to describe it. It was either eat great or eat like crap feeling all the time. So you really had this desire. Now, here's the point. So here I'm traveling the country and I was on the crap team. So the A team was getting LA, right?
Yeah.
Yodimba. We are going to Peoria, Illinois. Where is that?
Yeah.
Nowhere. So we're seeing rooms, still traveling, still moving, still doing all the same work, but we're in front of 20 people and their booties are over there in New York in front of 150. Well, your conversions are going to be more, right?
Yeah.
So I'm okay, well, how do we move this baby up? We had a baby speaker. And so I took on for myself, so I learned copy. Well, how do we make your presentation better? And the guy goes, I don't know. How do we do that? So I started traveling in my interim time and watching Robert Allen, Ted Thomas, Marshall Silver, some of the top closers at the time. And I would just sit there and take notes. How did Robert Allen just converge all these people into this private room and just close it for 10 grand? How they do that? So I'm writing and writing it. And I would take back to our speaker, James. I go, try this. And then we get a little better. Okay, try this. We get a little better. He's like, oh, that worked. Let's do that again. And we would just keep doing it. We're basically taking the VSL, sales letter, right? And we're just tweaking it and tweaking it and tweaking it. And we kept tweaking it to a point where we were all of a sudden getting 10%, 15%, 20%. And that environment's really high, by the way. So we were getting that. And all of a sudden we're like going to Denver. And we're like, woo! And then we're going to LA. Woo! We're getting thanks. So I really got the experience of that quick close and that high. But here's the thing I learned. I learned when to stop talking, stop selling, give them the pen and say, it's now time to close.
Right.
That's what you had to learn. Because if not, you just sit there in a cycle and just keep selling. That's the thing I learned quickly. It's like, okay, here's the pen. Okay, yeah. Your kids are great. Go ahead and sell. Okay, that's awesome. Where's your credit card? Yeah. Go ahead and take out your purse. That's right. Go ahead, open your purse. Keep opening your purse. Okay, great. Here's a credit card. You didn't tell people what to do. You had to overcome that in your head. As a woman, I had to overcome that because I travel with all men. I mean, here I am, a woman. I'm like 30, and I'm literally telling people, yes, will you go ahead and open your wallet, please, and give me your credit card? That's right. Good boy. Okay. All right. What's your credit card? I'll be right back with your receipt, And so those are things that you're not taught. You're just not taught that in society. You're not taught that unless you're just really good. And the other piece of that summer is that I've learned how to do it face to face.
Exactly. It's not the easiest, when we're looking for just anybody on your team, actually, but especially when it comes to sales. And really, I think of that, I think there's so many parts in your business that require that personality that you're talking about, that slickness, the setter, the closer. There's all these little parts that actually close somebody.
Yes. And they could be the same person, but it's rare. Usually the setter is a little more detail oriented and likes what I call pre-prepping. They're pre-prepping. Right. And then the closer really is like, here's the deal.
Yeah.
You're either going to get on the phone with me and sign this deal or you're not. And that's cool. And I'm out, so it's a very specific kind of mindset and they're not talkers. So closers, believe it or not, when I go into closing mode, I'm not in general a chit chatty gal anyway, but I'm not a chit chattier. I'm like, Are we doing this? And sometimes I piss people off, I'm like, are we doing this or not?
How does somebody find someone like that? That's a burning question. How do you actually find those type people for your business?
So here's a great question. I don't know how to answer that, but I will tell you when a business owner is looking for someone, it's usually you're not going to find them. I don't think you're not going to find them from a Craigslist ad or something. You're going to find them when like recently I came across a guy, he was valet parking my car and I was like, oh, you're good. I can just tell, and how he is he's like, hi, how are you doing today? Let me get that for you. Oh, no, I got this for you. You're good, ma'am. I'm like, oh, hello, you are quite the sales guy. You find them in these weird places.
That's so true. My husband does that. There's times where we're like, you're at a hotel, you're at a restaurant, or whoever it is that's serving you. And he's like, you should hire him. Just you know what I mean? You literally only had a 2-minute experience with them, but you just know.
Waiters are a great one. I mean, I started as wait tables. So waiters are a great place because usually good salespeople are a little odd. And they're not good at the streamline of life,
right?
The consistency, boring stuff. So they usually have bartending jobs, or at least for a period of their life, So that's where you usually find them. And they have to be with people, and they're good people, and they want to make money from their experienced people. Bartenders are a good one too. Valet.
Well, and they're so good at building rapport, which is so important.
Yeah, there was one person I met. Where was I? It was a really weird place. I do not remember where I was. It was like an airport or something. And the person was at what I call a low menial job, meaning it was nothing great. But I thought to myself, wow, they would be a really good salesperson. They're just natural. So, and most natural salespeople are just natural, but they've never had, like myself, I was never taught sales. I was literally thrown to a metal desk and said, go.
You taught yourself just through experience and hearing no's and what gets you a yes.
I had no clue what I was doing. I was clueless. And of course I looked at my superiors, but I was natural at sales. My sister constantly is like, you're such a natural at sales. How do you do that? I'm like, I don't know. It comes from my tongue, right? Really good salespeople at a certain point, when they figure out they're really good in sales, they'll move into something that they know they can be good at. So the best thing for small business owners to find people that maybe don't have that confidence yet is to find them in really weird places and just be on the listening for oh, wow, they're really personable.
I think so many people are looking for the background, the resume and all that. I don't like, for me, I honestly don't even look at the resume. I might afterwards just because I'm curious. But to me, it's just like, I just need to meet you. I just need to have a 2-minute conversation. That's it. And
Yeah, from sales. And salespeople, they're motivated very differently. It's not even about the money, right? Usually it's more about the kill. Like I said,
there's ego involved, which is a good thing when it comes to a salesperson. Yeah.
Really, or they're like, they love the relationship, or they love for me, it's a challenge, right? The fact that I was 25 or something. I was the youngest. I was the only female in my entire office that wasn't customer service, right? The only female salesperson. I was half the age of everyone. All the guys were 42, 45, married with kids. I was 25 and, young and woman and blonde and kind of cute. So like, I just didn't fit the mold. And so they actually had a bet against me that I would even last. So to me, that's like, bring it on, babies. Let's do this. I was there for 4 years in an outside sales. That's a long time.
Yeah.
I was considered senior. And when I got quote unquote canned, and the reason people ask me why they canned me, God, there's so many reasons why they canned me from their view. But the number one view is I didn't fit the mold. I didn't fit the mold. So they let me stay while I was basically challenging them. But once I challenged them to a point where I literally rang the bell, and I won the Olympic gold, then they're like, oh, that's great. Congratulations. Okay, now you can leave, Right. So they don't want to be challenged that much. So just understand, if someone is challenged, if someone loves that challenge, they'll probably rock the boat,
Exactly. I want to know, because this is what you're super, super good at, is you're really current in terms of what are like good online marketing techniques.
Can I keep you around like all day? Can I just have you like say that all day? Like, you're amazing. You're great. I can play like the summer thing. Like, someone needs to talk to me this morning. She's amazing. Like, I used to have that like replay in my head all day. I'll just have it like blast in my office.
I'll do it. You're so awesome. You have such a great presence, and it's like you want to keep talking. I'm like,
thank you. Sorry, I don't. Yeah,
can I clone you for my team?
Yes, no problem. As long as I can do this summer, like I'll call it the summer uplift.
Exactly.
Summer's saying she's amazing today. Oh,
every morning at 9 a.m.
Exactly. Okay.
Okay. So you know the smart ways. Okay. The thing is that people get stuck in things that work for their business. And then they kind of, aren't looking at other things that they can keep adding. And you stay current, like, what's hot in terms of online marketing strategies, sales strategies. How can you, take the things that you do have, like, say for me, for example, a podcast, how can you further market, and what are the things that people can be doing that they might not be thinking about now? Okay.
So I'm going to say something that's going to be really counterintuitive.
Okay.
And probably piss a lot of people off in our space. And I get it, because I get the backlash all the time from my clients who I love and adore, if you're listening. And that is belly to belly, H to H. Yes, my initials are H, Heather Havenwood, but that's not it. It's H to H, it's human to human. At the end of the day, we haven't changed that much. So we do have VS sales letters now. We do have funnels. We do have ClickBank. We do have all this stuff. And we have iPens and iPhones and all these things and tech. And that's cool. And at the end of the day, nothing really ever beats belly to belly. It doesn't have to be in person, but phone to phone or conversation to conversation. So what happens is people are constantly waiting. They're waiting for, is it okay to call you? Or can I call you? May I call you? Oh, why should I call you? What's the point of calling you? Just return to my email. At the end of the day, you meaning businesses are still dealing with humans. Humans say yes. Humans write the check. Humans say yes, move forward, right? Technology doesn't. And so you have to get past that and go, yes, you can get all the leads you want, all the VSLs you want, all the funnels. But at the end of the day, for any kind of large price point at some level, whatever that is, 5,000 or way more, you've got to get people on the phone.
Yeah.
Got to get them on the phone or in some kind of a belly to belly environment. And a phone is a belly to belly environment. And one-on-one, not conference call, like actually a conversation. You've got to move beyond that. And I think it's like a big shift that's happening, because when I started in like early 2001 traveling the country, those were seminars, people didn't even try to sell a $3,000 program on a webinar back then. And then the pendulum swung really hard, like 06, 07.
Yeah.
And then now they're just way popular. Nowadays, what happens is the more high tech we go, humans want more touch. And so it's the pendulum swinging kind of back now. And so if people really want to make the largest impact in today's world, do what the opposite people are doing and do what people are desiring, which is the human to human. Pick up the phone, call people, cold call. I don't know, tell you, like warm call, prep call, whatever you want to call it. I don't care, but call.
Right.
I mean, I'm dealing with a client right now. He's been resisting me on this forever. And every now and then he'll break through a little and he'll make calls. And he's like, wow. And I called them and now they're connecting me with this person. And now we have a meeting and now it's a potential. I'm like, what? It worked, so.
No, it's so true. And it's like most people are trying to automate everything.
Uh-huh.
I mean, in some cases it's awesome and it's really great. And then in other cases, like you said, there's that's lacking and that you miss out on because people still need, at the end of the day, that connection. And especially when they're forking out money.
Right. When they're forking out something beyond, here's what I always tell people. It's very different when you're asking someone to say yes to a price point that's not their money. It's the company money versus their money,
Exactly.
Very different. It's very different. There's someone that I'm sure you know the person, and this is not a diss on them, but they worked for a company. I think their numbers are ridiculous. They've spent over $10 million in ads on Facebook in the last 4 or 5 years. And so they have all this data and now they teach people how to do it, which is cool. However, what I want to say to this person is but it wasn't your money.
Yeah.
It wasn't your money. And I bet you threw a lot of stuff to the wind. And it's cool. You got to have a lot of testing. And I say, congratulations. And that's awesome. And now people can use that data. But it's very different when it's your credit card,
right?
Yep. Or you're spending 10 grand on an ad and you got to tell your wife or your husband, we're not going to go on that vacation. I just spent $10,000 on Facebook ad.
Yeah. Right.
What'd you say? We're not going to Disney. What? It's a very different kind of feeling when you have a business owner trying to build a business and they're like, yeah, just throw $10,000 on a Facebook ad campaign. You're like,
yep.
All right. Will it work? Versus a person saying, oh yeah, there's that $10,000 on the corporate credit card. It doesn't even faze me. I still get paid. So the point, what I'm saying is you just have to see the context when you're picking up the phone. Who am I talking to? What's the intention behind it? And who's actually writing the check? If it's the owner who's like, this is going to hit my bottom line, I really need to make sure this works versus an employee going, oh yeah, it's a great idea. Well,
exactly.
It's like another paycheck. Right. So they're like, oh, that'd be awesome. That'd be great. We could do this and this and this and this and this and this, all these ads on their budget, on their dime. And again, that's great when you have that opportunity. I say power to you. But majority of the time when you're asking for a $25,000 or more or 50 or 80 or 100 or $1 million contract, you're usually dealing with a CEO looking going, OK, well, let's make sure this baby turns that back at me.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's a big difference. I think what's weird, I don't know why, maybe because I don't know, I'm already weird. Who cares? I'd rather deal with the person who's it's their money than the employee. I don't know why that is. I'm sure that's probably a bad decision on my part, but I'd rather deal with the person when they put $3,000 down, $5,000, $6,000. It's like skin in the game for them. Like, oh, that kind of hurt. Whatever their hurt is, $10,000, $15,000, maybe $20,000 hurts. But it's like, oh, that hurt.
Well, and it also feels more important to you too, as the person, because what skin they're putting in, how much it's important to them. It makes it more important to you.
Yeah, it's way more important. It's like selling. It's like buying. I don't know if I ever sold cars, which I probably wouldn't. But if I did, I'd probably want to sell, I don't know, Mercedes or like a Honda. I don't know, because I'd rather feel like a college kid, like, this is my first car. I'm so excited. I've had this piece of S back in the back, I feel like they would just be more excited about their first car than some douchebag. Like, yeah, it's my 6,000th Mercedes, whatever. Like, let's just go do this thing.
Yeah.
Nothing just making money. I love making money, and I'm all about capitalism. And I just think it's that understanding of like, oh, this is feels good. It feels amazing.
Totally. Yes. Who's your dream client? Are they coaches?
So it's 60% men. For some reason, people assume it's females. It's both. what I deal mainly with is business owners. I've dealt with chiropractors, dentists. I deal with the guy who's starting a copier company because at the end of the day, I'm dealing with their sales and marketing side.
Yeah.
Do deal with a lot of coaches and authors and speakers in that realm, but the realms I'm dealing with, they're already at like 700,000 to on their way to 1.5 million, right?
Okay.
So they're already at that point of like, okay, I've done this, got it, got the book, blah, that's great. Now, like, how do I really scale this? How do I make this into a big brand company? And the beauty of it is I kind of pull from my years at Larry Pino. I mean, he built this multi-million-dollar seminar company on information.
Yeah.
You know?
All information.
And
yep.
I had the privilege to be there to see. It was very strategic, and I watched how he would launch a product and watch how he launched brands, and it was very consistent. And he'd do little tweaks, but it was a template, you know? So I know how to build a big, big brand, and I've done it before for other clients. I know how to turn a turd into a million. Pretty bad tagline, but I know how to just turn anything and kind of what I call clean it up and turn it into something that's more of a brand.
What are the things that you're looking at when you first start working with a client?
Message, market, media. What's their message? Is it resonating with their market? What's their market? Is it clearly defined? And what's the media?
Got it.
Are they using now, or what are we going to change it to? And usually I can stick with that for a year with a client. Yeah. Because usually their message is all messed up, or it's not matching the market, right? One of those two is messed up. Or they think the market's X and it's not one of those, or the message is not in the market, all that. We can spend forever on that. And then where really is your media? You know, where really are your clients? I know people say Facebook ads, well, maybe that's not best for your business.
Right.
Yeah, it might be billboards. Woo! You know what I mean? Like people get stuck and like, oh, only thing to do is Facebook ads. No.
I know that's dangerous that people are doing that.
Yeah, there's a ton of mediums. There's this thing called radio.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
And ads. And I mean, so I kind of get people out of like media is media. Media is media. And then if we get the message to market, then we can move into, well, what's the best media for that message to market?
Right.
Most people go, oh, into Facebook ads. And they go, oh, what am I selling? And they try to go backwards. I'm like, no, you start with the message to market. I mean, I built a $1.5 million supplement company in 18 months on radio. And the reason is, this is actually hailing to Facebook. It was a supplement company. It was weight loss. And Facebook is big on no on that, you know? And I reached out to all the buddies I know in that world who are like, they're just pretty much like, you're screwed. If it has anything to do with weight loss, you're pretty much screwed on Facebook. So I thought, well, let's go radio. And I went completely left field. And my business partner at the time, fought me like hell. No one's doing that. It's not going to work. Okay, well then let's just prove me wrong. That's cool. Let's prove me wrong. And then, you know, he's still doing it today. And we built a very nice business from radio.
That's so awesome. Well, and I think I'm of the mindset that you've got to keep trying different things and testing. And there's so many different, I mean, you could literally add something new every month to what you're doing in terms of marketing. There's, you know, trade shows, there's radio, like you said, magazines, there's getting on videos on airlines. You know, there's so many different things you can do. Yeah. And people get locked into, like you said, because you can see the quick results of that. And so you go, oh, I'm just going to keep doing that and throw more money at that. But really, I mean, if you think of how much you're missing out on if one of those things could work, because not all of them are going to work for your specific business, but one of them could really do well and another one could really do well. So you don't know unless you try it.
Direct mail.
Yes, exactly. I think it's almost it's working better now because nobody's doing it.
No, it's now when I get something in the mail, I'm like, wow, look at that sales letter.
I know, it's kind of fun. You're like, oh, I'm going to look at this. Whereas it used to be like, throw it away. Now it's like, what are they doing?
I got solicited by Newsmax. And I'm like, oh, I got to read the copy.
Yeah.
Because it's really good. I know they paid a lot of money for this copy.
Totally. It's so true.
So I have it. I'm like reading it like, oh, this is a good copy. You know? Hey, I should buy the product, see what kind of list I get on.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm so old school that way. But, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So are you even accepting new clients right now?
Yes. Now, I'll tell you how I work. I only do one-on-one.
Okay.
I'm really weird that way. So I know that's unique. And the reason is because maybe because I've been around a long time. And I've been around a long time, people come to me and go, I've bought this product and this seminar and this blueprint and so-and-so's blueprint and so-and-so's blueprint. And I'm like, well, those are blueprints, but that doesn't mean it's the blueprint for you. Like, I don't know if that's best for you. Do you know if it works for you and your business and your structure and your pricing? I don't think businesses always fit in a box. I do think that there's business models that work best. And I always look at business models. So I'm like, okay, well, let's look at the business model that you have today. Where do you want to go? And then let's find a better business model to fit for you and your lifestyle, focus on those three things: message, market, media. And so I fit it based on them. What's always fascinating to me, though, is once I lay the plan out, it's what I do. I lay the plan out for them. Like, okay, here's the direction. Then they fight me on the plan, right?
Yeah.
What do you mean? I don't like, why aren't we doing Facebook ads? I'm like, well, for your transaction value, it's not going to work, or whatever the answer is. And sometimes I'm like, you need to do Facebook ads. But I think that people don't understand that when you do one-on-one, it really is more of a consultative. So I really work one-on-one. I like to do long-term clients. They're with me for a year. I work a lot with their sales strategies, and I work with them when they have to go into big deals sometimes, and I kind of prep them on how to close the deal.
Let me send our listeners, because you've got like so much good stuff, and you have your own podcast, correct?
I do, called The Win with Heather Havenwood.
Awesome. Okay. I'm totally I apologize. I haven't listened to it yet because I didn't even realize it. And now I'm like, it's added to my list.
Thank you. Well, I actually have a media network. So I have Haven Media Network. And if you type that into iTunes, we have 6 podcasts on our media network.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
And then I have 2 new shows coming out this year, but I launch people's shows, right? So I launch people's shows and they come on my network. And part of that process is working with them with their message to market media, right? Because the podcast is a media.
Right.
Their message to market media. So I kind of launch that particular media for people and then I help them grow it. So it's been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed it. I mean, I went from kind of nothing to 65,000 downloads in like 2 years.
Dude, that's awesome.
Thank you.
You need a course on that.
I should.
Yeah, you should. You totally should.
Thank you, Summer. I should.
Okay, so best place is at heatherhavenwood.com.
It is.
Okay.
If you go to coachwithheather.com, it goes right to my calendar.
Oh, nice. All right.
I'm a belly-to-belly girl, so get on the phone with me, have a conversation. If you think it's a fit, great. If not, that's fine too. But that's my funnel.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. And there's so many people that are just like, why don't you just have, where people just automatically pay, or you just have it set up. And I'm like, it's not the kind of business we are, though. You're working one-on-one with people, and we know we have some competitors and that are pretty much have that model, buy now.
Right now. Yeah. Pay us right now.
And it's like, it's a personal thing, that you're talking about copy, you're talking about your business, you're talking about getting conversions. It's not just like click now and boom.
It's not copy cutter. Right. I mean, I could probably create a blueprint, but right now I like seeing results. I like feeling that result. Like, oh, wow, you just like doubled your business. Like, that's cool. Let's do that again.
Yes, exactly.
I'm like you, the powwow. I do like that. I'm going to steal that though.
Yeah, it is fun. Do it. So you said coachheatherhavenwood.com?
Coach with Heather.
Coachwithheather.com. And
then
just
heatherhavenwood.com.
Or heatherhavenwood.com.
Yeah, heatherhavenwood.com. Upper right-hand corner says work with Heather and click on it. Goes to the same place.
Okay, so we'll have links to that in the blog, in the show notes, in the email we send out. I'm excited for our listeners to hear this.
Thank you for having me. Are we still recording? I don't know. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
You're so fun. Well, I hope I get to talk to you soon.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much, Summer. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to today's Get Genius. You can learn more about The Draw Shop at www.thedrawshop.com on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Your home for kick-butt custom whiteboard marketing videos. Your ideas come to life. Thanks for listening. Please share, comment, and make any suggestions for future genius guests.